Good morning, everyone out there. Welcome to the Bottom Line Show on the 9th of October. And I hope you all had a good week out there. How was your week, Lamar?
It was pretty good, actually. I had a pretty good week. I had got off work early yesterday after a couple of long days, but it went really good, man.
Yeah, I took
Went
yesterday
really good.
off, so that felt good.
Oh, I
We're
know you
missing.
needed it.
I probably did. I don't know. But I did enjoy the extra sleep that I had, and I feel good today. Feel good. And it's getting on into fall. We have some
Yeah.
here in the Midwest. They're starting to change the leaves, but hasn't quite gotten there yet. We're in the midst of football season, so I went to the football game last night, and
Okay.
it's the season. It's the season. We're
Yeah.
we're missing Bria. Bria's under the weather this morning, so we wish her well out there,
Mhm.
and we won't enjoy her face and her comments this morning. But
Right.
get better. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, it's been pretty it's pretty cool in the evenings here and pretty warm in the daytime. So it's like down in the 50s at night and then get around like 90 something in the daytime. So
Really?
yeah,
Down
about
here in Texas?
88, 89. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I could deal with it a little bit. The cool nights, I could just go ahead and start putting some logs on my fire pit. Haven't used it yet this year, so I'm
No.
thinking about maybe me and my wife will sit out on the patio tonight and get a
So you have a
get a
fire pit
fire.
on your deck, like a
Yeah,
it's
well,
a patio?
got a patio and but a fire pit on it. Yeah.
So how long you been in Texas now? Like 4 years, 3 years?
2017. So that's
Oh,
what.
so it's 4 years,
Yeah,
almost 4 years.
yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
4 years. Actually, it's past 4 years. March. March was 4 years.
So this is not totally not on our agenda, but what do you miss, or do you miss anything about Ohio, about the Midwest? Do you miss the seasons? The more,
I don't
uh,
miss the season, but I do cannot stand how the sun glares through my window.
yeah, you got too much sun in Texas.
Yeah. So no, the thing that I miss, I would say, I miss the sports environment of Cleveland, the sports atmosphere.
Really?
Yes, I
So
miss it.
you don't
I
have
miss it
anything
big
like
time.
that in the Dallas area, then?
No, it's here, but I'm a Cleveland fan.
Okay, so you miss like the coverage of Browns,
Yes, I
the
miss the.
Guardians now,
Well, I keep up with it from a. I
Cavaliers,
keep up with it from a sports perspective. It's
Ohio
the.
State.
It's the 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 people, the environment of the city, the energy that flows through Cleveland when the teams are doing good. Especially right now, the Browns are playing good. I would love to be in Cleveland during this time. Or if I could just fly home for the weekends and fly back to Dallas, you know what I'm saying? If I could do that every week, it would be awesome. I would, man, I would be in heaven if I could do that.
Oh, yeah, that would get expensive. So,
Yeah.
you mentioned the Browns, so I got to mention this. So, um, I've been listening to a lot of sports talk this week for whatever reason. I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe part of the reason is because I might have been tired of the same news all the time. But there's been a lot in the national media about Baker Mayfield, and it's annoying me actually because what the national people don't realize is that Baker Mayfield is still, even if they consider him some sort of average quarterback, the best quarterback that the Browns have had in 30 years.
Re-
So, I mean, we're 3-1. I'm happy. I mean,
Okay.
he threw for 155 yards. He didn't throw any interceptions. One touchdown. He has an injury. They won the game on Sunday. They won the game, and yet there's a talking point that I think was uh, posted, that was put down by the administrators of Fox Sports and ESPN to talk about Baker Mayfield and how he's not measuring up to other quarterbacks in his class and other quarterbacks around the league, and that's a problem because he's in a contract year. And I'm like, they're winning, they're winning. They have a running game, so you know you can't have both. You're gonna have gaudy quarterback stats and have a good running game. I mean, sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Well, you got to look at it from different perspectives. I've been one of the guys. I'm a diehard Browns fan, but I feel like if I'm a Browns fan, I have the right to criticize who I want. I criticize Baker not only this year, but I've criticized
Okay.
Baker since he's been there. I look at
How come? How come?
because I look at not. I take it back. I've not criticized him since he's been here. I started criticizing him last year. 4 years in the
Okay.
he's been in the league. What, 4 years now?
Yes, and he's had 5 different
Four.
head coaches.
That's regardless. The
Okay.
head coach,
Okay.
the head coaches. There are things that, okay, you can look at any player who's been through adversity. Okay, I look at Matt Stafford. Look at Matthew Stafford.
Mhm.
He has he has always been on a crappy team, right?
The Detroit Lions. Yep.
They're like borderline playoff teams when you had Calvin Johnson. They weren't like your perennial or your regular playoff team, right? They
Correct.
basically sucked. But you knew Matthew Stafford was a good quarterback,
Yes.
right? No
Yes.
doubt in your mind he was a good quarterback. Now you
Mhm.
put him on the Rams, he's lighting it up.
Yeah, because he
So,
has players around him. He has a defense.
okay, we can say that. We're talking about him as a team, as a quarterback. We're not
Okay.
talking about the team itself. We're looking at him as a quarterback. You knew he had skills. He didn't. You look at Baker Mayfield right now, his fourth year in the league. He's still overthrowing players regularly that he should not be, wide open receivers that he should not be overthrowing at this stage of the game. This
Do
my
you think
this
the Latham on his non-throwing
No,
shoulder
nah,
was
ain't
the
nothing to do with
problem?
that because he did it
Nothing.
last year.
Is that just an excuse that
He
they put
did it
out
last.
there?
No, listen to what I'm saying. Look at the pattern. I'm a Browns fan. I want Baker to succeed. I want him to, but I want you to look at patterns.
I'm not saying that he's. I'm not
So
saying that he's even a great
now,
quarterback. I'm just
now,
saying that
now I look
it's a
at.
matter of perspective.
I'm gonna give no. No, we're not talking about. We're talking about skills. Period. Just straight up skill.
All right.
Now I take. At first, I thought Baker was just too short. I said, well, maybe he can't see over the linemen. Maybe he just can't see well over them. Is why he may get some of these bad throws. So he starts working with his foot moving a little bit. Then I watched Kyler Murray, total different type of player, who
He's
do
about
not
the
make
same
the
height, though.
who
It's
do
about the same height.
who do
Same.
not make the same mistakes and been in the league less time. So when people start comparing, so then I looked at this, Darren. I looked at I look at the players that we have in the league, and I looked at players who I would pick over Baker right now in the league. I think Baker fits because they don't need him to be spectacular because we have a great running game, but that doesn't make him a great quarterback.
I never said he was. All I said was he's the best quarterback we had in 30 years.
Cleveland.
I'm fine.
Some Cleveland fans are saying he's the best quarterback. They are saying he's a great quarterback. I asked a post last night.
He's not a great quarterback.
I put it last night. I did a post last night saying I want to see the Browns succeed. I said, but there's 10 quarterbacks I can name right now that I would pick over Baker. I said, so someone compared like all these other quarterbacks.
There's a lot of great quarterbacks in the league right now.
There are people who had the same, like Baker has great stats in his first 50 games. So they compared him to other great quarterbacks in their first 50 games, like Peyton Manning, all these other players like that. Well, they compared Baker to these people. The thing about it is that I asked a question. I said, these people you knew from day one, they were Hall of Fame capable players. You knew that. Can you say that about Baker right now?
No.
But people did. They said, yes, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
No.
I'm like, how?
No, he's not. All I'm saying is he's the best quarterback from a Cleveland Browns standpoint.
Oh, yeah.
In 30 years.
No one's debating you with that.
Now all of a sudden the Browns are a national story.
Yeah.
Because for 20 years they were ignored, and understandably. And so now they want to pick apart Baker Mayfield. It's like it's a matter of perspective.
Why is it pick apart?
Perspective.
But why is it pick apart and not just speak truth to the fact that
are they winning games?
That's not what they're arguing. They're not arguing that the Browns are not winning games. They're arguing the fact that this guy should be playing better by now, is what they're saying. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that argument? Are you saying that so the player that he overthrows? I
just don't want to.
No, hear what I'm saying. The player that he overthrow, should he be making those mistakes at this stage of the game? I'm talking about when I say overthrow, I'm talking about a wide open player with nobody around him, and he's not even in the possibility of getting blitzed, of not getting sacked at all. He's just he rolls out and misses a wide open player for a touchdown. Is that something he should be doing at this stage of the game?
No.
And you've seen it happen. You've seen it happen.
I don't want to get as a quarterback.
You're missing. That's not what we're saying. I'm saying he should be playing. He should be making those type of mistakes. Okay, 2 weeks in a row he gets sacked on 4th and 2. Okay, I blame the coach on those plays. That was a coaching error to call those plays because you put Baker in a position to fail when you could have easily ran the ball in some of those situations. On a 4th and the goal line or those 2-point conversions he could have got, you could have ran those in with our running backs. But you throw Baker 2 weeks in a row, you make him throw a pass when maybe it's better to run the ball in those situations. Because it happens 2 weeks in a row. That's like, really? That didn't make sense to me. That's a coaching error. But you knew you had a quarterback that may not make those calls. He may not make that pass. Why put that pressure on him?
The Browns are 3-1.
I'm with you.
I'm happy.
I'm happy too.
I'm happy. I mean,
but what's wrong with criticizing a player if you need to? What's wrong with that? That's what I don't get. If a player, no one says they want Baker off the team. No one says get rid of Baker. We're just what's wrong with the fact of saying he should not make certain mistakes at this stage of the game? That's all. And people are upset
Okay?
about it. You're showing you're upset right now because you don't want to talk about it. You're upset. That's all I'm saying. And I'm a
I
Browns
think it's
fan.
annoying. I think it's annoying because people don't understand what Cleveland Browns fans have been through.
I understand.
Do they understand? No, I don't think the national media understands. All
They
the like
do.
Shannon Sharp. No, they don't.
Why
No, they
don't
don't.
they? Why
Because they
don't
are
they?
not Cleveland Brown fans. They haven't lived in Cleveland. They
You
haven't
know,
seen the parade of quarterbacks. Was it 16 different quarterbacks before Baker Mayfield?
these
After Tim?
you're speaking at it from a fan perspective. That's all you're doing.
Exactly.
You sound like a sore fan who doesn't like his team to criticize. I'm not that guy. I'm one of the hardest Browns fans out there. I've been a Browns fan my whole life. I
Same.
die. I
I
live and
bleed
die.
orange,
I
man.
live and die brown and orange. So
But here,
what I'm saying is that I have no problem. Like people used to criticize
Baker May.
LeBron.
Okay, here's the thing. You could criticize Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield went into Pittsburgh in a playoff game and routed them.
And what did we do? We
That's
cheered him,
all I
didn't we?
gotta say.
And we cheered him, didn't
All I
we?
gotta say. And all of a sudden, he's like crap.
No
No,
one said he was crap. You're taking it out of context. And I told you very clearly my perspective. I said 4 years in the league, he shouldn't be making the mistakes he's making 4 years in the league. If you
I
could
think
name, if you when you look
he
at
will be
playoff,
better. I guarantee it. He'll be better.
so
I guarantee it.
why isn't he better?
He'll be better the rest of the
No,
season. He'll
no,
be
I'm
better.
asking
He might have a bad game or two.
if he's better the rest of the season, that's awesome. I support that. Like I said, I can name 10 quarterbacks right now I'll take over Baker.
So, what does that mean?
I'm just giving you the facts of the fact that when you're
I'm
arguing
not
with
sure that
some people who argue this to have this debate about Baker Mayfield, it's deeper than it's deeper than just talking about the skill set. I'm not even talking about the passion for the Browns and the love for the Browns. That's not what I'm talking about because I'm with you on that. We're equal on that. You're no more of a lover of the Browns than I am. But you put blinders on and make excuses and justify Baker Mayfield's mistakes. Because you just said first thing you said, is it the shoulder? Okay, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about simple mistakes that he makes. Brett
maybe he has
Favre,
a sore shoulder. That's
if
why he overthrew or
let me give you
underthrew. Or,
if Baker Mayfield for four throws for 4 interceptions and get behind by 3 touchdowns, do you think Baker
when has that
Mayfield?
ever happened?
No, I'm asking the question. Do you think Baker Mayfield is the type of quarterback that you're gonna want him to win? I know you're gonna like, come on, we can do it, we can do it. But do you have confidence that he can just come out and bring that team to a victory, carry the team on his back? You
Are they
know he could.
behind by 4 scores or 1
Three, it
score?
could be 3 scores. It could be 2 scores. It doesn't matter. He throw 4 interceptions, and the team is struggling. We know we got a strong run game, but your passing game. We have not relied on our passing game. We didn't have to, but I don't have the confidence that Baker's that type of. I will want him to do it, but I'm not going in and saying, "Oh, I know he can bring us out. He can bring us out. He's that type of quarterback." No, and I use that example because I remember those years of Brett Favre
People's
throwing all
standards
those
are too high
interceptions. I
because
remember those years.
they go out and see Aaron Rodgers and they see Pat Mahomes and they
They
see
can do
Deshaun
it.
Watson.
That's what we're talking about.
What I'm saying is that the quarterback play in the league right now might not have ever been better. People put up gaudy stats. Gaudy stats. Tom Brady's out there at 40 years old putting up gaudy stats.
What I'm saying is that,
It's a favorable quarterback league.
But you don't doubt Tom Brady can do it, though, is what I'm saying. There's still doubt that Baker can do it. Now, as a team, they can do it. As a whole team, I trust my team to carry us to victory. I don't trust that Baker's that quarterback that can put the team on his shoulders and carry them to victory. That's all I'm saying.
Sometimes I think he can. So, anyways, they're playing the Chargers in LA this weekend. You got a prediction, and then we'll move on.
My prediction.
I think we're going to lose.
I don't think we're going to lose. See,
I think we're going to lose.
That's the opposite.
The Chargers are a great team, and I think it'll be a good game. I think we're going to lose.
2 things are going to happen.
We're playing on the road.
Our running backs are going to have a field day against the Chargers. Number 1. Number 2, Herbert is not going to get the chance. He's not going to get as much time as he's had these last couple of games passing the ball. He's gonna his pocket time is going to be like dramatically reduced. He's used to playing against a great. We got like two great defensive ends and a good defensive interior defense. I think he's gonna really struggle. My prediction is, our prediction is 30-17 Cleveland.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. I think it's going to be
Baker Mayfield is going to have a great game. I think also. He is. He's going to come back to. He's going to have a great game because
I think it's going to be 28-19 Chargers.
He's a competitor.
No shame in losing to the Chargers in LA.
No one has. I think he has the biggest heart and the will to win. Then I think he's top 1 or 2 in the heart as a quarterback and the will to win as a quarterback. That's why I feel he's going to come back and correct himself from the mistakes from last week.
Okay. Well, there you have it, folks. If you have a comment on the Browns, you can. If you have a prediction on the Browns, if you're a Browns fan, if you don't care about the Browns, sorry about that. But I just thought that was on my mind this week. It's on my mind this week.
I see.
All the criticism from about Baker Mayfield. So we got some top stories. Probably one of the bigger stories this week was Facebook. Facebook, they had a congressional hearing. So they had one of the algorithm writers, very smart woman who used to work for Facebook, testify and give her insights as to what is going on behind the curtain, behind the big blue curtain of Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg's goals and ideas. And it was kind of illuminating, didn't you think?
It was.
Or did it surprise you at all? It was boring.
It didn't surprise me at all.
It was more interesting than your standard congressional hearing, don't you?
Soon as the post came out about Facebook, this whistleblower thing, and what was going on, the first post I put on there was like, "Did you all not realize you were getting used by Facebook?" I mean,
it's not surprising, but it's just interesting to hear it and to have it explained to you what's going on.
Just another It's another distraction in our country.
It is.
So Facebook.
Don't you think it has? Don't you think that it has real world consequences when we're talking about disinformation and be it COVID or voting or whatever?
I call it uneducated and irresponsible people that are being impacted. Have you been impacted by it?
I'm sure that I have in some ways that I don't even know. I'm sure that what I see in my Facebook feed is probably influenced me and into thinking one way or the other.
So how did it impact you?
How did it impact me? And it impacts me like as to what I see, how I view the world. It impacts probably what I say on this show. It impacts about how I might even treat some people.
So you're saying like it's made that great of an impact on your life?
It might have. I think it might have. Yeah, because think about it. Okay, so Facebook was out this week. Everyone knew it. Why? Because they're used to like clicking on their little app on their phone and at least viewing their news feed, right?
How did that?
It's pretty pervasive.
Did it impact you?
Did it impact me?
Yeah.
Not really.
Not really. When I tried my.
But you noticed it. I thought
the same thing. What's going on with my Facebook? Because my phone has been acting up the last couple of days. I had to do like a big reset with T-Mobile to get my phone back up and running right. But when my Facebook went out, I was at work. I was checking some things, and I was like, it was something I wanted to post that was on my mind at the time, and I couldn't do it. It just wouldn't work. I'm like, what the heck's going on? So I left it alone, and I went on ahead and went about my day. And like Leanne says, no,
I agree with Leanne.
And see, I'm not saying that there aren't consequences to us, because QAnon is a prime example of misinformation and how it impacts the world. Had someone I know real closely sent me a video last night, a Q type video, and I'm like, why are you sending me this? They are impacting people. What I'm saying is that what happened with Facebook, for me personally, and I think it could just be individuals or the type of person that you are, the information that what was said about Facebook did not surprise me. So when something doesn't surprise me, it doesn't impact my personal day-to-day life. We're on the news. We get news from everywhere. I don't rely on Facebook for all my information. As you know, I will research everything. Somebody, if you say it's like I was
Yeah,
researching, I
I know
didn't
that. I
even
know that.
go deep into this research of Facebook because of stuff that we already knew. We knew this stuff was happening. We talked about it all through the Trump campaign, through his presidency. We talked about Facebook and misinformation. Then you have conservatives being censored from Facebook and all this stuff. We knew it was happening.
Yes.
So
So, do you think that the deeper question is, do you think that Facebook has a responsibility to the public to, because it is so widely used and pervasive, and is it, another question here, is it possible to live without Facebook if you are a leader of an organization? For me, I have to do at least something on Facebook
right.
because I'm a leader of a church, and so we have to be on it.
Oh,
So I
absolutely.
think a lot of people are in that situation. If you have a business, you're going to have a Facebook presence.
Mhm.
If you're trying to sell anything, you're going to have a Facebook presence. So it's pretty pervasive in our society.
No, I
Does
totally agree.
Facebook have a responsibility, therefore?
Yes, they have a
To
responsibility. Yes, they do.
Okay.
I
Leanne says, "Go ahead, go ahead."
No, I'm reading. I agree with you. Everything you just said, I agree with you. But I'm asking you. When I ask you, did it impact your life? I'm talking about you personally, not just people in general. But yeah, like Leanne is saying, she's seen changes in people because of the information on social
Yeah,
media.
I mean, most people aren't like you,
But
or
what
aren't
was
like
my
even me
what
that
was
research
but
and
what was my
try to
first
find their
statement
own.
when you brought the comment up about Facebook? What was my first comment?
It didn't affect you.
No, before that, I said people are affected because of
You're not surprised.
being uneducated and irresponsible.
Mhm.
That's why. If you read Facebook and you're instantly impacted by Facebook by misinformation, that's your fault because you take and you're a follower. And you saw it, you see it through every political ever going back to the Obama campaign, you watch Facebook become so political and you've seen groups of people band together because of Facebook. They've divided over friendships have divided because of a Facebook post. I
Yes.
just talked to a person just yesterday, who were criticizing Trump supporters on Facebook. Her family got mad at her for criticizing and told her, please stop saying these things. And she says, why? I'm telling you the truth about some of this stuff. I mean, everything from the insurrection, all these things. Her family is divided over Facebook posts. Now, my thing is, the family that's upset with what she put, there's two questions. Did she put something factual or was it misinformation? Did the family go research what was put down or was it passed over and just took for word of mouth? Now, I said that for a reason. It was divided. Now, I'm going to change it to a different perspective. My own family, I'm going to talk about. I'm going to open up my family to Facebook and from misinformation. My niece is in college, right? My
Mhm.
niece goes to a conservative Christian college.
Okay.
Do you remember the conversation we had a month ago about the 229 Christians that was being assassinated in Afghanistan? Do you remember us talking about that? And
Yes.
we went and researched it right on the show. You remember? We found out it was fake news, right?
Right.
So my niece posted this content all over social media because of her friends who posted it, and she posted it, and they were all going to this school together, and they start posting this video and making it go viral, which was already viral for the last 9 years. So when I saw it with you, me and you saw this. She also posted it to our family group me. We have a group me account. So she posted it on our family group me. And what did Bria do? Bria jumps on and says, no, this isn't real. This is fake. We just researched it.
Yep.
That's how you educate your family. That's how you get people back on the same page because you go and you keep each other accountable. That's what you don't see on Facebook. That's what you don't see in households across America. We do
Uh-huh.
not keep each other accountable, which we're supposed to do, not just out of just doing it, but also out of love for your family. You don't want your family telling somebody wrong information and they're out
I'm
there
not.
looking
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I'm not sure that Facebook has a responsibility to families. I think Facebook has a responsibility to the
No,
truth,
no, no.
and
I was telling you why it happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Okay.
because of lack of accountability for people who know you're selling false information. You're telling it.
Okay.
But I gave you the example 2 ways: a family that's divided over it, and I told you how we brought our family together to get the right information out.
So yes, more division on Facebook equals more profit. More
Right.
division on the news is more profit. It gets people to watch. The more that you debate, the more that you yell at each other, the more
Yeah.
that you're going to have conflict. You're going to have people clicking on it and sharing it. The more salacious, the more article is going to get more attention and it's going to get shared. Now, I mean, I've always thought that Facebook is a mixed bag. There's several positive things in my life because of Facebook. I've
I
reconnected
agree.
with friends, reconnected to a lot of friends. I
That's
reconnected
how
to
we.
you
That's how we started the show.
probably primarily because of Facebook. So you could connect with old high school friends, college
Yeah.
friends. You could see what's going on in their families. You could gather together in groups. Like I'm in several clergy groups. It's been very helpful.
Yeah.
I'm in a diabetes group that's very helpful to me.
Yeah.
An osteoporosis group, very helpful to me. So there's several things that have been very helpful to me on Facebook, and those groups are one way to do it. But in the other ways, um, it has been damaging to relationships. So, and then the one thing that made big news is that Instagram, Facebook, primarily Instagram, has been um, pretty damaging to a lot of young girls because of its content and the things that it promotes. Um, and I'm not sure what the answer to that is. Are we going to see anything different from Instagram? Are we going to see anything different from Facebook? Now Facebook has made attempts to stop disinformation, but I'm not sure what can be done with people feeling bad about themselves and people getting depressed and anxious because they see how great everyone else's life is, apparently, which is because everyone shows their good stuff, right? Everyone
Sure.
shows family pictures and vacations, and then you wonder to yourself, why isn't my life like that?
You're right. I agree.
And so that's an issue. And does Facebook, Instagram have a responsibility? How do you change that? How do you change what people share?
I don't know, but I want to read this. I want to come back to your comment, but what Leanne said here, I feel the same way. Um, I have been, I my it never Facebook has never changed my spiritual growth at all. From the relationships on Facebook, but the Christian friends that I've had, that I've seen I've seen those divisions happen, and I've seen it like with me where I'm not as you know I don't communicate as much with certain Christian friends because of Facebook. It was mainly because of political views. And when I said earlier how it doesn't impact my life, it doesn't impact my life to the point of where I'm like people go through depression and go through the excitement and all these their emotions are up and down because of Facebook. I do regret seeing people so lost that you can't have respectful conversation. So we've seen that. I'm the type of person that does when I'm the type of person that can go into it and I can have these conversations behind the scenes and can debate with somebody, and then we come to some type of understanding. Everyone can't do that, and so they are affected big time by these relationships. Like Leanne is saying, she's been impacted because of Facebook. Um, but I've seen this happen, and I've seen, like I said, the family is just divided, and it's frustrating. Does Facebook have a responsibility? Facebook's responsibility, in my opinion, is to keep hackers off of their site and to minimize misinformation as much as possible. The hackers get on my nerves more than anything else on Facebook. Hacking your site, sending out friend requests in your name. That annoys me more than anything because I'm
Yeah.
not impacted by misinformation because I'm going to look it up myself to see what as much as I can to see what the truth is. But people are going to be people, man. If it's
Hmm.
not Facebook, it's going to be at your next council meeting. It's going to be at your school board meeting. It's going to be at your PTA meeting. It's going to be on your job in the lunchroom. All this stuff is not going anywhere. It's all around you. So Facebook can only do but so much, in my opinion. Why are we blaming Facebook when people could be more held accountable and be more responsible as individuals.
I think
If
that
you pick them off, then
I think the parents need to be more involved in what goes on in their teenagers' phones, maybe just a bit,
yep, I agree.
because if they are constantly on Instagram and addicted to that, and that can be harmful for their brain.
We'll give you my idea for that for kids, and I would say something at the age of maybe 14 and under. Was it PG-13? Okay, 13 and under. What about this? You go to the cell phone store, right? And you're gonna purchase a cell phone for your kid.
Hmm.
Most of the time the kid goes, Mom, 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 I want this phone right here. I want this phone, this new iPhone. I want this Samsung Galaxy. What if we had phones that were already pre-set up for teens, for 13 and under, which means they cannot you cannot put a phone in a young, like if adult buy a phone themselves and give it to the kid, you can't do nothing
Right.
about it. But if you're in the store with your kid buying a phone, they can't buy certain phones. There has to be a certain selection of phones for age groups, like 13 and under, that has filters put in to limit
Maybe.
the content.
Mostly that's on the software end, on the apps and the things that you put on it.
But it could be something done within Facebook to filter. I mean, not
Yeah.
Facebook. It could be something done within the phone manufacturer
Yeah.
to filter. If it's a Facebook, it could be things that could be filtered from the phone that you can view on Facebook. You can have different things put in place for that. That's an idea that I had. I just gave away my idea.
So Leanne says that I think people need to be responsible for themselves and their own actions.
Agreed.
Facebook does
Agreed.
provide a platform for all kinds of crazy to link up. I
I
agree with
agree.
that.
Totally agree.
I think that with kids, there needs to be some barriers involved, and I think that Instagram can do a lot to try and help save some young people,
Is that
literally save them,
is that for my
because
comment, Joe?
there's a lot of people who are having mental difficulties because of Instagram and everything.
So that's what
Why
I'm
do
saying.
they make cars to go faster than speed limit? So that you can pass the annoying trucks on the highway? That's what I would say.
You just made a point there. You said about people, causing the mental health issues. I said, this is really weird. I struggle. I struggle truthfully with people. When I hear comments where people are deflecting responsibility, I struggle with that. You just said about Facebook and Instagram contributing to the mental health of people. That could be true. I'm not denying. I'm not saying it's not true. I struggle with how we can blame Facebook and Instagram for someone's mental health. I struggle with that. I'm not saying it's not true. I said I struggle with that statement because I'm like, where is the responsibility? Now we could talk about responsibility for everything. You let somebody commit a crime. Why wasn't that person accountable? Why isn't he responsible? But we don't do it when we feel sorry for somebody and we want to blame a company like Facebook. Like I said, Facebook has a lot of faults. They have a lot of errors. They have a lot of ways to fix stuff. But for a person's actions, personal action, we're going to blame Facebook?
I think they do need to be more transparent, though. They've been, and it was illuminated in the hearings that they don't. They're they do things behind the curtain,
I agree.
whereas Google and other platforms like Twitter, these things are public domain as far as like doing research about
Yeah,
Facebook and things like that.
that should be corrected.
I mean, she explained it a lot better than I can, but that things are held proprietary, and they do have a lot of things that they could change and make better.
I agree. I totally agree with you. That end of it, I agree. I don't agree that they're blamed for people's personal irresponsibility. Like, I'll give you an example. How many people have been arrested because they committed a crime on Facebook and they was live on Facebook? A lot of people. They've incriminated themselves on Facebook and got arrested.
Yeah.
Right? Now, Facebook could have filtered that out. Oh, you can't be talking about that. Oh, you can't show this. And then that person might not have got caught.
Hmm.
I mean, you got to look at it both ways. So the other part you're saying about private information and how they share information, that should be eliminated. I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you.
So we have some legal things that's on our list of things to talk about. Timothy Simpkins, the 18-year-old who was from Texas, who was the shooter in a high school shooting, was released on bail this week. He also had some it looked like some kind of a mini party they did when he returned home.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on this case?
I'm still a little confused. I don't know too much about the backstory of the guy, but I want to play the video first, and we'll come back and talk about it.
Okay.
Well, classes are canceled at Timberview High School in the Mansfield ISD after a shooting on campus.
That suspected gunman turned himself in, and Fox 4's Shannon Murray is live with the latest. Shannon.
Yeah, Lauren, so the district canceled classes here today so that students and staff can have some more time to heal after a really traumatic day yesterday. Police say that fight yesterday morning was in a second floor classroom, and a student pulled a gun, and 4 people were hurt.
They have 2 police officers here, and when the police officers heard over the radio that there was a teacher that was in distress, the police officers immediately went to that classroom. And I can tell you that one police officer heard the shots as he was going up there.
Police say the suspected gunman, 18-year-old Timothy Simpkins, took off in a Dodge Charger as investigators worked to secure the school and also search his home just a few blocks away. Simpkins, with an attorney, turned himself into police hours later. 4 people were hurt in the shooting, including a 15-year-old boy who was shot and critically injured. A teenage girl was grazed by a bullet. She's been released from the hospital. A 25-year-old teacher was also shot. His injuries are not life-threatening. He's expected to be okay. And a pregnant teacher was also injured in a fall, but not hospitalized. Simpkins' family says they cannot justify what he did, but they believe he was trying to protect himself following ongoing incidents with other students.
Because he wore nice clothes, and because he drove nice cars, and because he had the things, he was like a target. We ask as a family for forgiveness of any type of hurt.
What I will say to that is we take the safety and security of our students and our faculty and staff seriously. I can assure you that we're doing a thorough, intensive investigation as it relates to what transpired.
Well, Mansfield ISD nor police would confirm any reported bullying or incidents that had been documented, but they say that's all part of their investigation as they look into what led up to the shooting. Simpkins is charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He is still in jail this morning. He's being held on a $75,000 bond. Now, police say they also recovered the alleged gun that was used in the shooting. They found it in the street just a few miles from here. Live in Arlington.
Okay, 2 things we got to correct that. He is released from from jail. He's at home. He was released that day. So this was a little bit earlier that day. But you asked me how I feel about it. There's a couple things that I do feel about. Number one, he was completely wrong for bringing a gun into school. To push back on that is I understand if he was bullied, why he brought the gun to school.
Yeah,
but I don't condone anything. And the other part of that story, the part of that comment is that we don't know who he got the gun from. If it was given, was it a family gun? Was it something that was in a household? Did he get it from somewhere else? Those are factors into that. If he got it from home, then I'm blaming the parents for not securing their gun. Yep. If he got it off the street, then that's a whole nother issue. He's dealing with people. He know people. If he knows someone to go to get an illegal gun, that's an issue. So when he shot, another thing is that when he was shooting the gun, it's obvious he didn't have too much training, because you always know where you're shooting at and who's behind the person you're shooting at, because that's how other people get shot. And he injured people that should never have gotten shot. if
Yeah.
he's shooting at the person that attacked him.
So obviously, I believe he's in the wrong. However, there seems to be a situation in the school with bullying. Some of the other students had commented that made news reports that they didn't feel safe in the school. That people, they try to avoid the hallways. So this could have been motivated by him being bullied, and bullying is a problem. So it's just sad. I'm glad that nobody was killed in the incident, and so. We'll have to wait and see what happens in this case. Another story
Going back there right quick. It's really I was concerned that when he got away, that anybody who shoots at a school or shoots anywhere in any type of active shooter, I'm always thinking, what's going through that person's mind? How disturbed is that person? That's what I thought. This was like a lunatic at first that started shooting. I didn't know the story. And when I found out that there was a fight, I'm like, wow, okay, so was he getting beat up and he was like mad and started shooting because he got beat up? But then it sounds like this was an ongoing situation of him being bullied before. Now, I just heard rumors yesterday. I don't know how true it is, so don't quote me on this. This is not what I'm saying. This is what I heard. And I haven't heard much research that he was pistol whipped by the guy that he shot the day before.
Oh, wow.
Now, I don't know how true that is. I just heard that yesterday on a radio show yesterday.
So that other guy had a pistol.
So I don't know. I mean, this is what I heard. So this is going to be an evolving story. You're going to probably hear some more information. But when they couldn't find him, everyone thinking that he's on the run hiding. I commend the guy for going to his parents and then getting an attorney and then go to turn himself in.
Yeah.
Because I would hate to see a young black man have an interaction with the police by himself.
Yep.
So that I say was a smart thing to do because he was, after the incident happening, apparently he felt bad about it. And he had to go ahead and, hey, how do I make this the best situation for me? So I do think that was a good idea. I wish more people would gather with their family and go turn themselves in so they have some support. Because even a criminal-minded person can use some type of support trying to deal with the mistakes that they made.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. From that it doesn't matter who you are. I wish that guy in Florida at Parkland had the support system around him to help him, because even if he's going through some mental issues, you're going to need support to try to gather and bring yourself back together, because you just did a horrible crime. And what's the hardest thing is going through something like that by yourself.
I think one of the problems is access in this country. So I agree with Leanne that people getting their hands on guns when they shouldn't, and when they're not in the state of mind to have access to guns. So
totally agree with you.
We have a wrongful conviction here. Julius Jones, who's been on death row in Oklahoma, wrongfully convicted. In fact, the person who was the perpetrator has come forward and been put on record. Despite this,
he's still in jail.
Julius Jones is still in jail in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And was given a 30-year a co-defendant was given a 30-year sentence in exchange for his testimony.
Been in there 20
and been
years.
released for 15 years, now a free man. The case is riddled with obvious racial discrimination, including the police officer's use of a racial slur during Mr. Jones's arrest, the state's removal of all prospective black jurors except for one. Evidence showed that a juror used the N-word before the jury deliberations on the sentencing phase. The U.S. Supreme Court has made unequivocally clear that our criminal justice system cannot tolerate such blatant examples of racial prejudice on the part of even a single juror. In this way, and many others, Mr. Jones's rights under the state and federal constitutions have been violated, and his conviction and death sentence should be overturned.
This happens a lot, and that's what's so frustrating, to hear so many people who've been put away for several years, like this, when that's heartbreaking to know that 20 years of your life has been gone because of somebody else's mistake.
Yeah.
That's horrible, man. And you see it a lot. And, I see it with, okay, to me, it's personal because it's a black guy that's been put away for 20 years who missed so many opportunities in life, just because of a mistake. I mean, every so many months, we do a story about somebody, their conviction being overturned.
Yeah.
It's not like a 1-year sentence, 6 months. We're talking half your life. We're talking about you missed out on so much. And I have a video about that from Common. I want to play for you right quick.
Go.
So you mentioned you want to be now part of the day-to-day of activism. So I'm wondering, over the weekend, excuse me, there were voting rights marches here in Washington and around the country demanding federal action on voting rights. I'm wondering, have you heard from or reached out to the president, Vice President Harris, Senators Manchin and Sinema to talk to them about the filibuster?
No, I haven't reached out to either our president or vice president, but and obviously I did a lot of campaigning for them. Mm-hmm. So I plan to do some things like we're galvanizing right now with my team from Imagine Justice, and we're working to get together. So when we do go sit down, have an opportunity to talk with our vice president or president, we'll have a nice, good list of things that we, just want to discuss. And one of those things is you talking about what happened over the weekend. What happened for me over the weekend, I want to bring up, I actually got more information about an individual named Julius Jones in Oklahoma that I feel a lot of people should be aware of. This individual is in Oklahoma, set up to be, right now they are trying to basically kill him. He's been incarcerated for 20 years. He was accused of murder and convicted of murder where several people said he didn't even fit the description. The person had long hair. This guy, it was bald headed. He had never had any crimes, no violence in his life. He was in school playing basketball. He's been in jail for, I think, over 21 years. They're trying to execute this individual in Oklahoma. Several people said this is not the man that did it. And we were really thinking about ways to make sure that this doesn't happen, man. This is a human life. And I just had to bring that up because those are the things that I'm talking about being a part of and doing on the daily. So I'm encouraging people to make sure they check out JuliusJones.com. It's dealing with Oklahoma. And I want to say, it was like, I got to give respect to, it was a lot of different entertainers, including obviously Kim Kardashian was leading the way, Jake Gyllenhaal and Ashley Graham and Dak Prescott and J. Cole and Snoop Dogg, just all involved. And it's like, these are the things sometimes that people don't know that artists and athletes are doing, because you don't do it all like for show, but we want to do the work, and it's a lot of people that want to do it. So I just had to bring that up. I'm encouraging people to find out more about Julius Jones.
So just as a point of note, Julius is scheduled to be executed on November 18th. He has a clemency hearing on October 26th. So you can go to justiceforjuliusjones.com or just do a Google search and find out more information about signing petitions and things like that. So
yeah. So it's like he was mentioning about behind the scenes. You always hear like, what are these athletes doing? What are these entertainers doing? They're always on TV and they're doing this and that. What we don't realize, there actually are people that are advocating in the background, trying to help people.
Yes.
And that's why I wanted to play that video, because people look at celebrity artists as jerks sometimes, but it becomes, especially when you're seeing someone mistreated like that, and you can have a personal experience where you've seen that before, or somebody in your family that's been through this. It becomes personal to speak out, and instead of looking at it just as another criminal. especially when you have fans. I mean, when you have witnesses who said that this was not the person. You know.
So here's a related question: what difference does it make if it's a LeBron James or a Russell Westbrook or someone that's going to come to the microphone and stand up for somebody like this, or other people that has happened before? What is it? Does it make a difference?
It makes a difference, but the action,
somebody in Hollywood or someone like that who goes out of their way to try and bring awareness to certain things.
It's the action that comes out of it. The example was the lady during the Trump campaign, Kim Kardashian, advocated for a lady that was in prison and she got released.
Yeah.
That was action taken. Now, was it political? I'm sure it was it was political to some point. But the point was she advocated for somebody and got him out.
So if Kim Kardashian had not done that, would
you probably never would have heard of it?
Still be served? Probably not. You don't think?
You probably wouldn't have heard anything about it. But we knew that was going to happen because it was political.
Okay.
Something like this, this doesn't have a political aspect to it from the people. The only political aspect for this is going to be if Biden gets involved or if Kamala Harris gets involved and they go out and help get Julius Jones' conviction overturned. If this man gets executed, this is like remember we had some people executed at the end of the year, remember? And there were people that shouldn't have got executed, they got executed. And it's like, when are we going to stop this?
Yeah.
If you have a questionable, if something's if someone's in prison and they're about to get executed and it's a lot of questions about what really happened, that person should not get executed. I don't believe in capital punishment anyway, but that person should not.
There's a lot of problems with capital punishment. Yeah.
A person should not be executed when if there's this many questions about this person's murder, this person's case. Why are we still moving through for November execution?
Yep.
It should be a halt to it till we come down to get to the bottom of it. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah.
This happens too often.
We had Dave Chappelle made some comments in a documentary on Netflix that's gotten some attention this week in the trans community.
Did you see it? Have you seen it yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, an interesting. I don't know. It's interesting about what people think about this, and he's never been somebody to withhold comment, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you feel? What do you think?
Two things. Dave Chappelle's a comedian. Number one,
Mm-hmm.
his job is to make people laugh. Number two, I think personally, I know why he did it. I think I know why he did this, but I think he dwelled too long over these last couple of shows over the trans community. But I can go back when he cracked on the crackheads, when he did the Dave Chappelle show, and he looked like crackheads and he brought racism into conversations. No one said anything. So people could get offended all day long at comedians. And with this topic here, I really think, in my opinion, I think Dave Chappelle would like to understand why certain offended people can get more support from the society and government than Black people when they're going through things. As he mentioned that. He said that when there's a trans issue going on, like he said, you can have two Black people arguing or fighting. They're not going to call the police on each other. But when it was a white trans person, they called the police because they figured they could. He used the example. They could be trans and then they could become white. He brought a racial issue to it. I think that's the bigger story he was bringing out more than anything, was that no one should be criticized. No one should be offended, but it should be there's still a fine line when it comes to racial issues in our country. He brought that out several times in this last show. And I think, and I want to show a video that kind of that someone who is trans who shows support for Dave Chappelle,
Okay.
and she's a trans person, and so I think
Okay.
I think that we need to listen more to each other. I think this whole thing with Netflix will spark conversation, and that's exactly what the purpose was. For one, is to spark conversation.
Okay.
We're having a discussion about something that's sensitive to a lot of people. Some people don't understand, and then there's some people that know a lot about it. But why is the conversation so divisive? It's just like anything else in our country. Everything is divisive.
Well, let's listen to this video that we have.
Hello, this is comedian Flame Monroe, and I am a comedian that happens to be transgender. I'm coming to you today to speak about the whole Dave Chappelle backlash that he's receiving from his latest Netflix special, The Closer. First of all, I thought that Dave Chappelle was hilariously funny on this special. He did touch on a lot of truths and he stepped on a lot of toes. But a lot of the things that he said needed to be said and were very true. I hate that my LGBTQIA plus community, my community, we want to keep on taking, but we don't want to give. You have to give back to understand that in order for us to make change in this world, we have to come to the table with an open mind, no attitude. And Dave Chappelle did something that needed to be done. He has opened up a conversation that needs to be had between us and them so we can let down this divider so that there won't be no us and them. They will just be us. I have a dog in the fight for several reasons. I'm a comedian, I'm transgender, and I'm black. And he touched on a lot of racism in this country. What you need to understand that if I'm pulled over by the police, they don't know that I'm transgender, or they don't see that first. They see my black skin. I'm in the same plight with every other black American in this country, and Dave Chappelle was trying to shed a light on that. But we keep intaking things to make things what we want them to be, as opposed to what they actually are. Yes, Dave Chappelle spoke about a lot of things that we find a little offensive or what have you, but instead of jumping on his case and canceling him, the transgender and the gay community needs to start educating the youth. So many young gay and transgender people have no idea who Sylvia Rivera or Marsha P. Johnson is, who were soldiers, generals on the battlefield many years ago in order to open up doors that we can afford some of the opportunities that we have now that we did not have 20 years ago. Hear me when I tell you that there is two sides of history. There's the disgruntled, angry, bitter side that will never go forward, and there's the side that we have a transgender state senator, Sarah McBride. We have MJ Rodriguez just made history as the first trans woman to ever be nominated for an actress. Which side of history do you want to be on? Let's have a conversation with some real people about what Dave Chappelle has said, because Dave stepped on a lot of toes, and I thought that it was brilliantly funny. I am a huge fan of Dave Chappelle's, and I also support the LGBTQIA plus community wholeheartedly when it's something that is detrimental to our capacity. Some of the things he said is not detrimental. It was a teaching moment. And like Dave Chappelle said, where's the lie? Because just like him, ain't shit wrong with me. I just look like this.
Well, you know what?
Plug in for herself, though. That's good.
The second to last sentence is what nobody is debating. He
Say that
said,
again.
I didn't tell a lie. Dave Chappelle said in the show, I didn't tell a lie.
Yeah.
No one is questioning the fact if he lied or not, or did he say something wrong. They just didn't like how he said it.
Why not just leave the topic alone is what I'm wondering.
Why? It's an impact in our community. It's
Okay.
an impact in our community. I mean, you have it from a Christian standpoint.
Well, didn't
People
he
are
figure that
debating
it was going to be that it would cause an issue? Didn't he
He
think
knew it
about
was going to cause. He knew it was going to cause an issue. Kevin Hart got canceled for it, right? He knew it was going to cause an issue. How many other people? The right J.K. Rowling was the writer for Harry Potter books.
Yeah, she took a lot of heat for that.
He knew exact. Dave Chappelle not stupid. Come on, man.
So,
He not
don't
stupid.
you think that Dave Chappelle, though, has a certain gravitas that a lot of people don't have? And people take him seriously, what he does and what his brand is. And so when he comes out and says anything, people are going to listen. And people are going to take it seriously way more than Kevin Hart. So I think that's that's deserves to be said.
What did you think about Flame Monroe's comment?
She's entitled to her opinion. I don't
No.
think that
Was she right or was she wrong?
she's right, of course. I mean, but she's just giving her opinion.
No, but that's the point I'm making. If she's right in what she's saying, okay, let's start from there. She said that it opened up conversation. You said, why are we talking about it? When we bury things under the rug is when problems happen. You
What
just said,
exactly are we talking about? Like the nature of what makes a woman a woman?
no. She said that it brought up conversation about the
About what
trans,
exactly?
about
And
the
why
trans.
why
It's
did it
so
need
many,
to come out?
so many topics. So you're saying you keep hiding things. You're saying you rather things to stay hidden.
No, I just don't think it's something to make a joke out of. Why
He
why
made
are
a
we making jokes out of this?
he made jokes to bring out topics. Like she just told you this stuff. Her personal thing is the fact that a cop is not going to care about her being trans when she gets stopped. That doesn't make a difference. She said it personal to her because of the fact of her skin color. She still gets treated the same.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Chappelle brought a lot about that. I told you before we break the video, I said his comment was made a lot of comments about trans, but there's a fine line he put there because it had a racial impact to it. That's what he was mentioning in there. And it's not just, I mean, you could take any topic that he's talked about. Everyone can get offended about something. I remember D.L. Hughley made a comment about his own autistic child. He made jokes about his own autistic child. That's his own son. He wasn't making fun of his son. He was making light of situations with him and his son.
Okay.
People took that situation and he got bashed for it. The autistic community bashed him for it.
Okay.
And I'm like, why not take these topics that you're so offended about and have conversations about it? Some things are so personal to people they want to hide.
Why is stand-up comedy is not a conversation?
No, it sparked the conversation afterwards. If not, we wouldn't be
Sure.
talking about it on
Yes.
our show right now. We wouldn't be
Yes.
having this discussion if it wasn't for Dave Chappelle bringing it out, because so many people, if they bring it out, they don't bring it out the right way. I
I
think
don't know.
Dave Chappelle was
I feel like Dave Chappelle, people treat him like he's untouchable. Like whatever he says is true and right.
What makes you think that?
Because you're defending him.
you.
You're
I did
defending him. I mean, why are we defending
Am I
somebody?
defending Dave Chappelle or am I
He's a
defending the
comedian.
conversation? Am I
He's a
defending
comedian.
Dave or the conversation? Am I defending Dave or the conversation? I'm defending the conversation
Okay.
because he has a platform. Okay, the same way you just mentioned LeBron James earlier. LeBron James could talk about things and get people upset. But if he don't say it, the conversation won't be had. Dave Chappelle has a platform to bring out conversation. He said it himself. I don't really understand it. He told you I didn't understand it. He told you he's not saying it correct. I could name all the proper initials of the LGBT community, all the acronyms. I wouldn't even know them. But does that make me a bad person? Not saying I don't want to understand who a person is? No. I mean, we can go, I mean, that conversation could be all day long, but the whole thing is that you're having the conversation
Okay.
instead of just hiding it. And then when people get offended, they're not listening. Not too many people who's offended is going to have the time to listen. You're not going to have an ear to
So,
listen.
I agree with Jeff. I think the point is that the trans rights seem to take more precedent over black racism rights. I think, don't you think that's part of it?
That's what Dave Chappelle was trying to tell you. I just told you that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Dave Chappelle was saying. But no one is bringing that conversation up unless it's a black trans person mentioning it. Like Flame Monroe just said it. So did Dave Chappelle put his line across, put his toes on the line in the sand? Possibly. But what are you going to do about it? Are you gonna have respectful conversations? I mean, and I'm taking it because I know trans people. So I could say, I know that, and it's like I'm trying to understand sometimes what they're going through. I may not always agree with what's going on. That's my own personal opinion.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that I don't care about people in general. And that's and if you heard Dave Chappelle mention, he has a friend that committed suicide because they were possibly allegedly pushed away by the trans community because she supported Dave Chappelle.
Wow. Okay.
Did you see the show? I mean, he said it at the end. He mentioned it about the friend of his that he helped put on the road. He opened up for his show. Daphne was her name. and he supported this person, but he still was trying to understand this person's life.
Right.
They had a conversation, and this person supported Dave Chappelle, and Twitter bashed her because she supported Dave Chappelle. Next thing you know, she commits suicide, jumps off a building. Those are the conversations that people are having. And that could go for trans community. It can go for bullying. It could go for anything. Have conversations. Talk about these things that are affecting people's lives so each other can understand. Whether you agree with it or not, you can't say you didn't know because you heard from each community that's going through whatever they're going through.
I just think it's to broach. I mean, I still come back to why does it have to be part of a comedy show?
Okay, who else brought it out? Who else is talking about it? The church is going to debate about it and call it sinful, right? Right? That's what the church does most of the time. Then you have politicians that use it to get votes. We've seen that happen. No one has done it in a constructive way to bring some conversation. Dave Chappelle had the guts to do it. Whether you like the way he did it or not, people across the country, across the globe is having a discussion.
Okay.
About something.
Yes, but did he do it on purpose because he wants to start a conversation, or is he just trying to make jokes?
No, he told you why he did it. He told you why he did it. He told you. It is the spark conversation. He told you that. That's what I'm saying.
So he has something deeper in his motivation besides telling jokes. So he's not just a comedian. So therefore, he has more of a responsibility because people listen to what he says. He's more than just a comedian. If he's doing things to spark conversation and to get people to think about these things and to talk about these things and have a healthier conversation about these things, is a stand-up routine the place to do it, or is it in an interview? Is it some sort of statement? Is it
where would he got the audience for you to hear that conversation?
He could get an interview with anyone he wants to.
You wouldn't have. No, what I'm saying is everybody wouldn't have heard it. Everybody didn't see the Netflix show, but everybody's heard about it. You see what I'm saying? That brought an audience. He's had a contract for Netflix. Number one, it was six shows he had to do, so he did those.
Okay.
So you're looking at that's what I'm saying. You're looking at things from the wrong perspective, in my opinion. You're looking at it because for some reason it touched you in a certain way, and I'm like, okay. Oh, as a that's what it looks like from my end. And we all can know people that could be from that community, but are we willing to? And I remember times where myself personally, I was like, I ain't got nothing to say to you. I don't want to talk to a trans person. I don't want to talk to a gay person. Now I can be open and honest with you right now. That was my opinion. That was my perspective. The thing about it is that what my argument has always been, because I may not agree with a person or whatever that may be, that does not take away that I don't care about people.
Okay.
So that's one conversation. The thing about it is that now that is more and more in our society, when these things come up as a divisive conversation, why not bring it together and have a real conversation? Dave Chappelle said it. You just heard it from another trans person. Flame Monroe said it. Bring it to conversation so people can understand each other better. What's wrong with that? We can't get past the fact that we was offended because how somebody said something.
Okay.
I mean, why do we talk about racism so much on our show?
He's more than a comedian, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about racism a lot on our show. There's people that can't stand me and you talking about racism on our show. Why do we keep doing it?
Because we think it's important. Because the things that affect our lives and the things that affect this country, the things that make news, the things that people are talking about. We hopefully we want to have a constructive conversation about racism and get people to be aware of what's going on around them.
I want to read you something.
And be aware of their own attitudes.
I want to read you something, Darren. I want to read you something. This is what the bottom line is all about. The bottom line seeks to build awareness of our diversity of thought, lifestyle, and backgrounds. Our hope is that it will lead to a respect for each other and increased understanding of our differences and lead to common ground on our shared values. That's our platform statement.
Yeah, but we're not telling jokes.
That doesn't matter. Does it matter how you say it? It doesn't.
I think it does.
It doesn't. It doesn't. If it was outside of him being on a stage, outside of the stage, I would probably think it was wrong. If he was in any other environment or platform, I think what Dave Chappelle said would have been offensive and wrong. People paid to see Dave Chappelle. People who want to see him on Netflix are watching Dave. They want to see comedy and they want to hear what he has to say.
Okay.
If you don't want to hear him, you don't watch him. So outside of the stage, I think Dave Chappelle would have been wrong, in my opinion. But because he was on a stage for a show that he was promoting, he was in the right place for it. He didn't, like I said, he didn't lie about anything. That's the point. So,
all right. Well, here's somebody else that said something that made the news here yesterday. John Gruden, who's the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, the recently relocated Raider team. Apparently 10 years ago when he worked for ESPN, sent an email talking about the head of the Players Association in the NFL Players Association, saying that he had lips as big as Michelin tires.
Mm-hmm.
Offensive, wrong, a racist statement. Sat down and wrote it in an email. So is John Gruden done as the head coach? Will anything happen? And what can be done, or what should be done, or
I don't know,
whatever.
But I'm gonna bring up a statement about that right quick.
Go. Two
different scenarios. John Gruden said something very offensive, right?
Yes.
Right, very offensive. People's, racist comment. What he said was not true at all. That man's lips are not big as Michelin tires. Now, whether he was being funny, whether he was trying to make a joke about it, do you see the contextual difference? If he was on a stage and he had his own platform to do a comedy show, no one would be tripping on the fact he said his lips was big as Michelin tires because he's telling a joke on a stage. He said that in an email to some executives, to some other colleagues.
I don't know. I don't know if that would be funny.
No, what I'm saying is that if he was on the stage,
if he was on stage trying to make a joke,
people
I don't
make
know
jokes
if that would
about
be funny.
people. People make jokes about people's appearances all the time on stage.
Would you find it funny? Would you find it funny?
I would have laughed at it on the stage compared to that email.
Okay.
Me personally, because I don't have a problem laughing about something. If the guy got big lips, he got big lips. Mick Jagger got big lips. Mick Jagger got big lips like he was, I don't know, he got big lips.
Isn't it a racial statement?
It's the context you put it in. If he said it in a stage trying to be funny is one thing. But if you say it in an email to colleagues, it's offensive. It's the context.
It's unprofessional, right?
It's unprofessional. It's out of context. You don't say something like that in the work environment.
Nope.
In an email.
No, you don't. No.
That's what make what John Gruden did wrong.
So is he going to be canned? Is he going to be suspended for a game? Nothing's going to happen? Are his players going to look at him with second thoughts now?
That's something that he has to deal with. Are you going to play for a coach? Because this is the question about it. He made the comment. Now you got to go back and face these 50-something black players on your team, who some may have big lips. They're thinking, what does he really think about me?
Right. Yeah.
That's the problem John Gruden is going to have.
Yep.
That's the problem. That's the problem that goes across every industry in our country, is when you get caught saying something and then you apologize for it. Oh, I'm sorry I said this. Mm-hmm. The person that you work next to, who's sitting right next to your desk, who you probably never had an issue with in your entire life, is sitting next to you thinking like, wow, what does that guy really think about me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does he talk about me behind my back? Does he feel that way about me? That's the problem. And that's what people don't realize when people say offensive things. That they don't realize the people they're impacting that are close to them that they're not even thinking about. They feel like, well, that's a friend of mine. He didn't care. How do you know? I've seen that happen. I've seen that in work environments where someone says something offensive. And I'm like, wow, they talk about that person. Are they talking about me? Do they talk about me like that?
Okay.
I've had that feeling before.
Okay.
And it had nothing to do about me or anybody looks like me. It's the fact that they were talking about another person or ethnic group of people. And I'm like, wow, do they talk about me like that? I've
Yeah.
had that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Elder said, Joe Elder said, man, Gruden just messed up a bunch of money. Very possibly. You're actually
So he's going to
absolutely
get
right.
fined?
Absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough.
So he's
for
going to
him.
be fined then?
I don't know. Did he get fined?
Not yet. I'm just wondering.
No, when
Will he get fined by the NFL? Is
but I don't know.
the NFL going to send him a bill?
It might be fined by the NFL. He may lose endorsements. You know what I'm saying? He may lose his job. So I don't know.
You think he should come out with an apology?
He already apologized. Let me find it. He already apologized,
did?
man. Yeah, he apologized already. But the thing about it, no one took it seriously.
Ah.
I'm trying to see if I can find that for you. Gruden, oh, he goes, here it goes, apology. Gruden apology. Where is it at? 18 hours ago?
Okay.
No. I want to hear from his players. That's what I want to hear from. I don't know what he said, though. Go ahead, dear. You can finish talking. I'm just trying to find this. I'm skipping through this.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think he should make a statement, I think.
No, he's already done. Apology. But the thing about it is that was it.
Urban Meyer and Gruden could go golfing together.
And the thing
They're
about
probably
Urban,
friends. Who knows?
So that's the same thing with Urban Meyer. Do you put Urban Meyer's actions equal to Gruden's actions?
Oh boy. I think that probably Gruden's statement is worse. I think that his because it has to do with his profession. Gruden is a head football coach in the NFL. And 70% of the NFL are African American people, athletes, and so what Urban did is a failing in character.
Right.
That on his off time, he decides to go to Ohio to one of his clubs and fill up a young woman who's not his wife. So is that a football thing? No.
Yeah.
Is it bad? Yes. But Meyer's mistakes are kind of compounding. He's just like a
Well, one
of many things that makes you scratch your head.
Yeah. This is something I read about the Gruden situation. And this is something that people should take to heart when it comes down to racist comments. It says here, do you know where the racist bone is in one's body is supposed to be located? It seems every time a public figure gets caught making a racist comment, he or she says some version of, I don't have a racist bone in my body while making an apology. So you kind of like go back and forth. You sound stupid. So as it continues on, it says Gruden has spoken to multiple media outlets claiming he was trying to call Smith a liar. But in every apology, he said something about how he isn't a racist. He says, I don't have a racist bone in my body, and I've proven that for 58 years. That's what he told The Beaten. I don't have a racist bone in my body, Gruden told Vinny Bonsignor of the Las Vegas News Journal. I have proven that my entire life. I've never had a racial thought when I used it, Gruden told the Paul Gutierrez at ESPN. I'm
So why'd
embarrassed
you
by
say
what's
it
out
though?
there.
So why'd you say it?
This is what he said. I certainly never meant for it to sound that bad. Okay, I'm gonna go on. I have never had a blade of racism in me. Gruden told the Vic Twofer of the Atlantic.com. I was just pissed and used a triple way to insult a guy.
Okay.
Make no mistake, when Gruden said in that email was racist. Whether or not Gruden was attempting to call Smith a liar, describing a black man having big lips is using a racist stereotype that has been a societal convention for decades, let alone in 2011. So also that letter was written in 2011. So I read those little statements because these are things that happen on a regular basis. And when these come out, when you say I don't have a racist bone in my body, that comment should never come out of your mouth after you said a racist statement. You should just apologize, because apparently you didn't realize, if you knew it was racist or not, you didn't realize the impact your statement was going to make. So don't say I don't have a racist bone in my body. That's why there's a lot of discussion about unbiased, unintentional bias, because some people say things that are inherently in them that they don't even realize that it's bias.
Yep.
They don't realize it. So he didn't think about it.
No.
But it was stupid. But when you write something down, it's different when you say something out of your mouth in a conversation versus writing it down. If you write an email, you had time for that process to your brain, go to your fingertips to type it out.
This is what Leanne gets you. You apologize for accidentally doing something. Being a racist takes more work than oops, my bad. Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
He had to sit down and create that email. So
exactly.
He thought about it. Now, so let's see. Gruden has been talking like that since he was at Tampa.
Yep, agreed.
He's always been edgy and whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Strange. Being a head coach, character is number one. Otherwise, no one would follow you if they question that.
Well,
then continuing that thought, once you lose that, you lose the credibility with players, other coaches, owners, fans, etc.
Now, you can take this back. Look at it this way. Ex-player Kevin Johnson and Keyshawn Johnson and Warren Sapp, we've been talking about this topic a lot. Yeah. They played under
this week. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So you think about this. When I look at comments, when people apologize for their comments.
Okay.
So majority of the football players, you would say 75% are African-American players, right?
That's the stat I heard, 70%.
Okay.
That's just roughly.
Have you ever heard any of them make a public comment about a white person like that? Publicly?
No.
Okay. Have you heard about any of them making an email about a white person like that?
No.
So why is it? So you think about when people give a pass to people who make these errors, because they typically usually always keep their job. It's where's the lack of self-control? Because we talked about this once with police officers. We'll say, well, why is it that a white police officer shoot an unarmed black man, but you don't see too many black police officers shooting an unarmed black man? Is there a sense of control there that they don't overreact? I'm not saying they don't shoot people. What I'm saying is that you don't see the stats as high. Is it because of lack of control? In John Gruden's position right there was a lack of control there.
Yes.
He was upset and angry, and he showed a lack of control. I couldn't say something like that. I'm always thinking ahead. I can be upset, and I can have a racist thought in my mind, or a comment of bias or prejudice in my mind about a white person. And I am in control enough not to say it because I know the impact that could come from that. It's crazy.
Well,
it's
he
like
has a lack of control. Yeah.
You got to have control, man. You can't just say things out of your mind. And do I think John Gruden's a racist? I really don't think he's a racist. I don't think so. I just don't think so. I think he said, I don't think it was, he made a comment. I think it was
he was trying to insult somebody who he didn't like.
He insulted somebody, and I look at also a place of privilege that he didn't have to have that self-control.
Yeah, that's true.
And he didn't think he was going to get out.
Right.
It was done in secret. It was an email.
So how long do you think Urban Meyer is going to last in Jacksonville? Is this going to be one and out? Is he going to be going back to college? Is he going to have trouble going back to college? Is he going to have trouble going into
why are they tripping
the
on
booth
Urban
again? The booth
I'm gonna ask
again.
this: why are they tripping on Urban Meyer? He went to a Jacksonville team that sucked. He got a rookie quarterback. who expected more out of, did you how many games did you think they were going to win?
It's not about what he does on the field. I mean, that's part of it, but
Well, he made that error there. That was a bad mistake. That was a bad choice of character. That was.
he also had been hiding the fact that his one of his assistant coaches was in serious trouble, and
That was what, 5 years ago,
hid
wasn't
that.
it?
Yeah. I mean, it goes to his credibility, like you say, in this
Right.
character.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, you take his credibility and character. Does that keep him from being a coach on the field? Does Jerry Jones have bad character? And Jerry Jones still the owner. Nobody pushed him out yet.
Jerry Jones of the Cowboys?
Yeah, the owner of the Cowboys got bad character.
I don't know.
Okay, say it this way: how many coaches how many owners of football and coaches show bad character during the Colin Kaepernick deal situation? A whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of them. They still there. Ain't nobody lose their job. Bad character. The things you say, bad character. The actions you have, bad character. When you tell a player they can't kneel because of this or that and other, bad character.
Well, I think Jerry Jones is different because nobody's giving Jerry Jones a job. He is himself the boss.
The league can push him out for bad character. Can't they?
They're not going to do that.
Why not?
To Jerry, because of money.
Okay. We talked about Robert Kraft last week. Should he been pushed out for being in that massage parlor? Where you knew
maybe,
there was
but you know that's not going to happen because of money.
You just justified it. I said,
They're untouchable.
Should he be removed?
People
should
like
he
that.
be removed? Yes, he should
Maybe.
be removed. Okay,
Maybe,
so
yeah.
so why should Urban Meyer be removed?
Because somebody's giving him a job. Somebody is saying that you are the leader of a group of young men. Okay, so yeah, there's owners and billionaires who have bad character, but who's going to fire them? You know it's not going to happen. You know it's not going to happen.
You're not. We know that's the point. We know what's going to happen, but why do we know that? Why do we know nothing's going to happen to those type of guys?
It's a matter of practicality. Who's going to fire them?
We know. No, the league can push them out.
How?
This is
how
an
are they going
example.
to do that? How do you do that?
How did the Clipper or how did Sterling lose his team? How did he lose his team? He was the owner. How did he lose his team?
Yep. Okay. Good point. I forgot about him.
No, but I asked the question. How did he lose his team?
By being a jerk. He had a lot of comments.
He lost the team because the players refused to play for him.
Yes.
That's why he lost his team. When your players refuse to play for you, it becomes a financial impact. So now you got the players that don't want to play. Now you got other players that won't even play against you. Then you have other owners who looking at you like, what the heck? How can you say that? You're being beat up all around. He got removed. The difference
the Sacramento Kings also pushed out their owner? I don't remember that one.
Can't remember about that one. I don't really remember that too much. But the point I'm making is that if the players don't want to play for you or criticize you, or if that coach is willing to have, because Jerry Jones kind of toned it down a little bit as that next year came along, you didn't hear too much from his mouth about it because I'm sure he had conversations with his players.
Was Marz Schott pushed out by Major League Baseball? Marz Schott?
Yes, she was. That's another one.
So that's another example. Okay.
Yeah, she got pushed out because of her big mouth, and people are like, hey, we can't have this. So when your players stand up, that's why I said I want to hear from John Gruden's players. Because if the players push back, there's no way the owner can keep John Gruden there.
Okay.
If the players know him as not being a racist person, they know his personality and character more than any of us do. If they approve of him, then you look at it as like it was a lack of character, a bad mistake he never should have made, and let him grow from it. But if the players push back, he's done.
So I don't know. Do people in Florida love Urban? Do the people in Ohio love Urban Meyer?
I think they
I
do.
don't know. I don't love Urban Meyer. I mean, he had a lot of success at Ohio State, but that's not hard to do.
I think Urban Meyer is a loved guy across the globe, across the country because of
He
his
is?
success. I think more so because of his success. The success he's
I don't
had.
know anyone that's like, I love Urban Meyer.
I've heard
I don't
that.
know anybody.
I've heard that.
Really?
Yeah, but I think Jacksonville was a bad choice for him though. He only went there because it's Florida. But I think Jacksonville was a bad choice for Urban Meyer because of how he left Ohio State. I think Urban Meyer should have went to a team that would have had a better opportunity of winning.
Hmm.
Right off the rip, I can't think of one right off the top of my head right now, but I think Jacksonville was such of a sorry team that him going there was not a good move. I didn't expect. I did not expect.
It's a
If
challenge.
anything,
So he likes
one or two.
challenges, and he knew that
That
he was
was
going to have the number one pick, and so the
no,
future is brighter.
yeah, but the reason why I say that it was a bad move is because of how he left Ohio State. He left out of Ohio State because of controversy.
Right.
So you don't go into another situation where you have a sorry team at that coming out of controversy, not knowing when you have a sorry team, controversy follows a sorry team too. There's issues that happen. We saw with the Browns. We had Josh Gordon and they were sorry. We had issues with other players, the what was it? We brought in Kareem Hunt, that was later on. He had an issue. We had to start winning for you to get beyond the distractions on a team. So
Yeah,
Urban Meyer
that goes a
didn't.
long ways. That goes a long
So,
way.
so
So
Urban Meyer didn't help the situation.
that's
By
why
he made
people
it
are
worse.
going to look the other way with John Gruden because they're 3-1. I think they're 3-1, and
They'll look away if the players look away.
Urban Meyer is 0-4.
Gruden, it'll look away for Gruden if the players accept it. If the players say it's okay, Gruden will be fine. If the players don't agree,
Even if he goes like
don't
10-4,
matter.
even if
Don't
it's
even
like
matter.
makes the playoffs.
He might even make it the whole season if the players don't agree.
Okay.
I mean, you think about it. How would you feel if you was the player?
Well, I'd be pissed.
Like I said, it all depends on if you know the character of the person. If you know that's not John Gruden's makeup, that it was a sincere ignorance, on his part,
Yeah. Okay.
then you could pass it. You'd be like, okay. But if it wasn't, if that was something that the team felt about Gruden, they knew underneath there was some racist issues with Gruden, he's done.
Yeah.
He blew it.
Okay.
I want to know
Well,
who
it'll be
found the
interesting to
email.
see.
Who found the
I don't think
email?
Meyer's going to make it out of 1 year.
Who found the email with Gruden? Do you know?
I don't know.
How did that get exposed? And Urban Meyer would be okay, man. Urban Meyer would be fine.
So
got a sorry
he will
team.
he will be there long term.
I didn't say that. I
Okay.
said he would be okay. But no, who expected 1 or 2 wins? No, I didn't expect no more than 1 or 2 wins from Jacksonville this year.
I thought maybe 3 or 4 wins.
I didn't.
They had the number 1 draft pick.
So what does that mean?
It means they got a good player and he's their quarterback.
We had a number 1 draft pick. We didn't shoot to the top of the ranks after 1 year.
No, but 3 or 4 wins is not at the top of. I didn't expect him to be completely sorry.
I did. I mean,
Okay.
Hasn't Jacksonville been sorry the last few years?
Yes, very sorry. But they
So
got the
what?
number 1 draft pick.
That doesn't
They
mean
got a good
anything.
quarterback.
He's a rookie quarterback. We don't know if he's going to be good. We don't know. We have no idea if he's
Most
going to be
people
good.
think
or
he's
not.
going to be good.
We don't know.
If
have no
if he's
idea.
not, then he'll be like the next Baker Mayfield. We're
You
complaining
watch
about
him this
every
year.
week.
After this year, you will see how good he's going to be. After this year, you could tell by the way he plays. You'll say, "Oh, he's going to be pretty decent." Peyton Manning's first year, did he suck? His first year, the team, not him,
Yes.
but the team sucked. Yes, but
Yes,
you
he
knew
sucked.
Peyton Manning was going to be a good quarterback. You could see him in the pocket. You could tell he could throw. He's going to be good. He just had a sorry team around him. That's what a lot of players, man.
Well, we're on the topic of sports, so I'm going to bring this up next. So, I mean, this crosses over into into culture, ideas, into public health, because, as you may or may not know, New York City has a mandate for
Yeah.
people being inside to large events like concerts and sporting events that you must be vaccinated. So that goes for fans, cheerleaders, coaches, everybody. So Kyrie Irving has been very coy about if he's vaccinated, if he's not vaccinated.
Yeah.
Lots of interviews back and forth. He hasn't been. Otherwise, this wouldn't have been a story. So, he was supposed to be one of the big three in Nets. The Nets are in Brooklyn, which is in New York City. And he's unable to practice. He's unable to be with the team at home games. He hasn't joined the team so far in preseason. And it's been a big topic in the world of sports, talking about this issue. And it could, there's been some crossover into the main news, because they talk about because people are beginning to sue for because they're mandated to get the vaccines. They might be their employers, for example, like a hospital might require them to be vaccinated. And so it's been in the news because there's been some court cases. So will this get anything beyond the world of sports? Will this go before the Supreme Court? Issues like this is like, can your company demand that you be vaccinated in order to do your job?
I don't know, man. That's tough, dude. That's tough. Every situation is different. Kyrie Irving's in a situation where the location he's living in is more impactful than just dealing with the Nets. If he lives in New York, New Jersey area, that means there's a whole lot of places he can't go. So this is bigger than basketball for Kyrie Irving.
Yes.
He made a decision that he has to live with, and I don't fault him right or wrong for a decision, in my opinion. I just don't. He has his questions about the vaccine. I respect those questions he has about it. The question I do have for the league is, if he's saying he doesn't want to take it, can it be that he tests 2 to 3 times a week? Would that make him safer for the team or the league? I'd say the basketball league.
Okay.
But the issue is more than that, because New York and New Jersey have state laws in place. He can't be in a building of 25 or more in New York or New Jersey, period.
Right.
So that's the issue he's having. It's state laws. But the league can pass him where he can play on the road to certain states where he can play, where they don't have those laws. But
it's not an issue with the league. It's not even an issue with the team.
It's the state laws.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he can play in Cleveland. He can play in Houston. He can play in Utah. With the exception of LA. That's the only other place. So he could play. Karl Anthony Towns has had several family members that was mentioned.
Yeah, his mother died.
Jeffrey mentioned that. So, just as a point, what's the issue with him? Well, he had family members that died. His mother died. Has lost 7 family members. Karl Anthony Towns. Let's see here. I'm looking this up. It started with his mom and Jacqueline Towns, his uncle. He himself contracted COVID but recovered. So these things come from somewhere. So, if somebody's unvaccinated and they might carry the virus to give it to another player, they're probably going to be okay themselves, but they're going to bring it home, or they're going to pass it to a fan, or that's where the issue is. And we all know that. We talked about this. So, it's personal to people. Yeah, it's his personal decision, but it affects other people. It affects his team. It affects his legacy. Is this worth it? Is it worth it to stand on this hill and say, no, I'm going to not get the vaccine?
So what about the testing 2 to 3 days a week? Do you agree with that? I
think that would be a good compromise, but it's not up to the team.
No. I'm saying, do you think that's a good compromise? And that
I
was the
would
man.
think so. I mean,
Because
most
right now they're dealing with
places
state laws.
most places say either get vaccinated or test once a week. So I'd
Yeah.
imagine testing several times a week would be okay. And
Yeah.
honestly, I think I'd be okay with. I mean, if you are not going to get vaccinated, then having regular testing is the next best thing.
I
And if
agree.
you happen to be positive, then you stay home and you quarantine,
Mhm.
and you get better, and
Only
until
reason why
you're
I
not
say that,
contagious anymore.
only reason why I say that because vaccinated people can get the virus. So that was my only reason for saying about being tested. I think it should come down, and me personally, I think it should come down to especially for sports teams because they travel so much. I think everyone should get tested on a sports team on a maybe a monthly basis or every 2 week basis. I think everyone because they travel around the country so much.
Yeah, yeah.
They in all these they're on airplanes, they're in hotels, and they're around a lot of people. And I think that that they should be tested. If you have a company over so many numbers of people, I think everyone should get tested. I think they should do something to where you test people regularly because that's how this stuff is spreading. It doesn't say vaccinated or unvaccinated. It doesn't care. It just everybody is vulnerable to spreading
Yep.
this virus.
Yep.
Mhm.
Well, Kyrie himself is an interesting person. He's had interesting comments over the years. He's last year he had this leave of absence thing that he had. He seems to have had some issues with mental health. I don't know. So it's not that he's had issues where you scratch your head before.
Like the
What
Earth
I'm
is flat.
saying.
Like the Earth is
Yes.
flat.
Yes. So it's not like it's somebody who makes a lot of sense sometimes.
Well, what would make that's what makes this whole thing that much more worse for Kyrie because of all his previous statements and comments is that he was already in the news for stuff for the last 2 to 3 ever since he left Cleveland. He's been
Yep.
in the news for something stupid.
Yep.
I think Kyrie Irving, in my opinion, since he left the Cavs, has been looking for the limelight for something. So he decided to be the bad guy or the negative guy, the villain, to get press.
Wear the black hat. Okay.
Because think about it, Kyrie has been hurt every year of his career, basically, just about.
Yep.
So every team he's been on, he hasn't completed a season with the Nets or when he was with Boston.
Nope.
So he needs to stay in the limelight. He needs to stay in the public view. He needs to have these comments out here. So, and I have not really, I mean, I love him as a player, skill set wise, but I've not been a fan of Kyrie since he left Cleveland.
Yeah.
So I really can care less what he does with what team. The
I'm
less
kind
he's
of
on the
more
court.
amazed that LeBron won a title with him now that he's just because it's like he's a head case.
Yeah, I mean LeBron got his, but Kyrie hasn't got his again yet.
No.
So it's like he I don't. The less he's on the court, the easier it is for the Cavs, man.
I think the Nets might be better off without him, rather than trying to just play him for away games. I think they're talking about like trying to trade him. They're trying about only playing him at away games, and that would be a problem. I think he's more of an issue, to be honest. I think they might be more successful without him.
From a chemistry standpoint, yeah, because
chemistry standpoint,
he can't even practice.
It's a distraction. It's going to be a constant.
Yeah, he can't even practice with the team.
Nope.
So, yeah.
Well, a couple of topics that we can just mention briefly. Baseball playoffs. Do you have any favorites? Do you care?
No, but I can read the scores off right quick. Well, I had the scores up. I lost them.
Well, so you got the Dodgers. You got the Giants.
I had all the scores, man.
You have the Red Sox. You have Tampa Bay. Who do you got? The Yankees are gone.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
No Yankees.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I have not digged. I was watching. Who was it last night? Was it the
Dodgers won last year? The Braves are in.
Who was playing last night? Was it the
Tampa Bay?
The Devil Rays, yeah. And I was watching. I wasn't watching. I flicked through because I was watching something else, and I have not watched the playoffs at all, so I'm gonna just read the scores that I have. Yesterday, you had Game 2. Houston leads 2-0. Astros over the White Sox to beat them 9-4 yesterday.
Yeah, I don't like Houston because of their cheating scandal a couple years ago, so I'm down on Houston.
See, I like Houston just because I'm living in Texas right now.
Okay, fair.
Game, you got the Red Sox and the Rays. Red Sox 14-6.
Yeah, they're tied up 1-1.
So I've always hated the Red Sox because I'm an Indians fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm picking the Rays.
For the Rays.
But I'm no.
Oh,
I have always went against the Rays ever since they beat didn't they beat the Indians a few years back? The Devil Rays?
Yep.
And I just hated them ever since that. So
so you're pulling for Red Sox?
I am.
Okay.
Not to win it all, but against that. But you got the Brewers and the Braves today.
Yeah, how about those Brewers?
Yeah, I'm not a Brewers fan either, man. I don't even like that. I always hated their logo, and I'm not a Milwaukee fan. Just Milwaukee, the city of Milwaukee in general.
What's wrong with Milwaukee? It's a nice, comfortable town.
I don't know, man. It's just been me. It's just something. I don't know. I have no reason. I hate the Milwaukee Bucks, the Milwaukee Brewers.
Huh.
Okay. That's just me, man. But you got
Green
the Dodgers.
Bay?
Now you do got the Dodgers and the Giants, and I've been a Giants fan.
I like the Giants. I'm
a Giants fan. I'm a Dodgers fan too, man. I'm a Dodgers fan ever since the days of Venezuela being their pitcher.
You can't be both. You can't be a Giants fan and a Dodgers fan.
I know.
It's like,
but I remember like I said, I was a Dodgers fan when they had Venezuela as their pitcher. If you remember him, he was really fat.
I liked him.
Big old belly.
I liked him. Yeah.
I've been a Dodgers fan since those days. Not a diehard fan. If the Dodgers are playing, I'm pulling for the Dodgers. But I became a Giants fan when they won the World Series with back in was it 89? No, 90. Was it 90 or 91 they won the World Series? Remember when the Bridge
Giants?
Didn't they win back there? Did they not win? Who did they play
when the Giants won 3 times at the beginning of the last decade, so I think it's the even years 2010, 2012, 2014.
You know what I'm thinking? Was it maybe it was the Padres? Who was the one? What was the baseball team where the bridge in San Francisco dropped?
Oh, you're talking in 1989 was the Bay Area series. They played Oakland. They lost to Oakland.
That was San Francisco and Oakland, right?
That was the World Series that was interrupted by that pretty horrific earthquake.
So who was it?
They took like a week off.
Was it the Giants?
They played the Giants.
Okay.
It was Oakland against the Giants, and that's an interesting because I think it was a game 1 or game 2 of the World Series where it actually happened during the game or before the game. They canceled the game, and the World Series was postponed for like a week.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of devastation in the Bay Area. So.
Yeah, I became a Giants fan, or like
after that,
I started liking the Giants around that time because I didn't really know too much about the Giants, but I hated Oakland. I hated Oakland. The Oakland A's, I hated them. Man.
I didn't like Oakland at all. I never liked Oakland.
Yeah, so
as
that
an
was
Indians fan.
So I liked the Giants then, and then when Barry Bonds got with the Giants, I was a follower of the Giants also.
Oh, okay. So the famous mountain gorilla dies at 14 in Virunga Park. You have a picture?
Nah, we can skip over that one. It was a legendary. That was a legendary. I did want to. I mean, I can find a
Sharon
picture.
Daugherty has stage 4 breast cancer. There was a Chadwick Boseman Memorial Scholarship that was instituted.
Yeah,
there was a study done in technology that.
You're going too fast, Darren. Slow down.
Oh, this was going to be the Blitz section here.
You're blitzing, but there's no context. You're just blitzing.
Okay.
So I do got Chadwick Boseman. Netflix created a $5.4 million scholarship for Howard University students.
Yes.
The life and work of late Chadwick Boseman continues to create lasting impact as it relates to his alma mater, Howard University. So it's going to go to the College of Fine Arts. The students over there, be able to get the scholarship. And I got that from the Root magazine on that one. The technology one, I missed. I think I had that article up, but they were basically saying that 58% of the hackers that we've seen, these political hacks, were rushed, state backed by Russia.
State-sponsored,
not really
technological terrorism, trying to hack their systems.
Yeah, but not necessarily sponsored, but they supported it, from what I understand. They know people that's involved. It's like they allowed it to happen, but didn't say nothing about it. That type of thing. And they benefited from it. So I think China was like, they said 40%. China was like on the lower end of the percentage of hackers, but
Successful though, pretty successful.
44% of their hacks were
Right.
successful.
Yeah.
That's pretty deep. So it's like they could do 5 hacks, and 44% of it's going to go through.
You know, a topic to discuss sometime maybe is to like, well, this is like the new world war is a cyber war between the world powers, and you know, how much should we take this seriously? Is it harmless, sort of back and forth? It's not harmless, but how much effect do we feel in this country? Will we never know? Is it all like sort of black ops, like dark web kind of stuff that we're just not going to ever know? Or is it going to have any real world effects? You know, us hacking back and forth to Russia and China, and
I think it happens, man. And like, you remember T-Mobile? They had a security breach about a couple months ago. I'm with T-Mobile, and a couple weeks ago,
yeah,
I was
sure.
Oh, you're over T-Mobile?
Mhm.
Okay, if you go to
Yeah,
T-Mobile,
we talked about this. Yeah, go ahead.
if you go online, there's a message that tells you that
Mhm.
if you were impacted. I know it said on mine, I was impacted, and that they'll give me. I haven't followed through with it yet, but they'll give me 3 years of McAfee ID protection because of the fact that I was vulnerable to financial
I
loss.
didn't get anything.
So you might not have been impacted.
I might not have been infected.
Yeah,
I
so
guess not.
that's the first time I've ever seen where I've been impacted before from someone trying to hack me, like a person trying to hack me, through my bank account.
Uh-huh.
But I've never had it where I was in a big security breach like T-Mobile was.
Yeah, Leanne says that's right. Good. Thank you for reminding us that they shut down a pipeline. So it affects us economically. Like something like that is going to have a big effect for short term economically. I guess it's possible that if you had the right hack that you could send our economy into a depression-like state, I guess. So how would you respond as a country if something major like that happened and like the internet was shut down for a week? Or how do you respond to that?
Don't know, man.
Do you respond militarily? Do you respond with trying to hack hack the other side, or what?
Well, we haven't did it yet. I mean, we all been impacted in some way by security breaches and hacks, but I don't think we've learned how to really deal with it because it's still so new. It's been going on for a while, but it's still so new from a conversation standpoint, and it's still new from a government way of handling it. And not only that, how many of these security attacks happen? These cyber attacks happen that we don't know about that the government does know.
Oh, many.
So many. I mean, I just saw this report that like in the financial industry, it's like you get like over 1 million hacks like in a week. It's like that many happen.
Hack attempts,
attempts in a week, like in a day. It's like daily. These attacks come in like by the thousands, like tens of thousands in a day. So it's like a continual thing. But yeah, I mean that's just a part of our life we're going to deal with. One of the last topics I want to reach on, we're about to close out our show, was Bruce Beach. So many people might not even heard of Bruce Beach, but Bruce Beach is like beachfront property right now. It's worth $75 million, but it was actually owned by a family
it's in California.
Yeah, 1912. They bought this property for $12,000.
It used to belong to a black family.
Yeah, it turned into a resort for for families because the black families couldn't go to some of the beaches in LA at the time. So they bought this beach to allow them to swim. And what happened was that a couple of different organizations and companies and families and people or whatever decided they didn't want this family to have this beach. And it got to the point where the city took it for eminent domain to build a park.
After some arson attacks from the Klan.
Yeah.
And some harassment from white neighbors.
100 years has been
Eminent
gone.
domain. The city council of Manhattan Beach seized the land. This is in 1912.
Yeah. So that's really deep, man. So here's a little story about it
So,
right here.
and how much is that land worth now?
75 million, the land itself. But what about 100 years of back rent that they were probably owed? But here's a story I got from NBC about that.
Today, a handshake nearly a century in the making.
And we'll be sending the deed over to you soon.
California Governor Gavin Newsom returning property taken from a black couple to their family. Warm temperatures and clear waters are a hallmark of Bruce's Beach in Southern California. But beyond the sunny skies lies a stormy past. The land was first purchased by Willa and Charles Bruce, a black couple, in 1912, a time when segregation largely restricted beach access for blacks.
Charles and Willa Bruce, a married couple, had the American dream like many of us have the American dream of owning a piece of property, establishing a business, and that's what they did.
The Bruces built a lodge, cafe, and even a dance hall, open to all. The resort became an oasis for black families to swim and socialize without being harassed, until the safe haven became a target.
Despite all the racial taunts to KKK, the harassment, the burning of their facilities, the taunting and the harassment of their guests, they survived and flourished for 12 years. And it was at that point that the city of Manhattan Beach took it upon themselves to say enough is enough.
In 1924, Manhattan Beach officials seized the Bruces' land, citing eminent domain and plans to build a park. The Bruces tried to fight the city to no avail. They received just over $14,500 for their beachfront property. The land remained vacant for 3 decades. Now, almost 100 years later, a reckoning.
This property was stolen from the Bruces. We're returning what was stolen, what was rightfully theirs.
The state returning the prime real estate to the couple's descendants. Descendants who the family says are now scattered throughout the country, some living at or below the poverty line, despite once owning land now valued in the millions.
Most of the wealth equity in this country and for most families is through land or property ownership. People who were not white have not had this mechanism to grow wealth.
Tonight, a new chapter for the family can begin as the sun sets on Bruce's Beach.
All right, NBC News Now correspondent Priscilla Thompson joins us now on set. So, Priscilla, the family has missed out on about 100 years of income that property could have generated. Any idea how much money they've lost?
We don't know for sure how much money they've lost, but we do know that today this property is worth somewhere around $75 million. And so certainly a lot of money when you think of prime beachfront real estate over the past 100 years. And what's more is people are talking about the generational wealth that money could have produced, sending someone to medical school or law school if they wanted to go, allowing other entrepreneurs in that family to flourish that may not have been able to do so because that money was not there.
Putting a hotel, rental properties that could have generated income for all those years. I have another question. Does the family feel like giving back the land was enough, or do they think that more is owed?
Right. Well, of course, they're excited to reclaim this property, but there is still the question of all that wealth, generational wealth that has been lost. And not only that, what the family has been asking for is an apology from the city. And that is something the city has refused to do. They are putting up a plaque at the site to acknowledge what has happened. They are condemning what has happened, but they will not apologize. And today we heard the governor apologize and say that he was doing that, even though the city has refused to give the family that.
Wow.
The family should get an apology from the city. It's all about location.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that like we know that in Tulsa that same thing happened, and they were like they want that land from Tulsa. They built a freaking road and freeway through it, but they want the land back. Is this going to be a new form of reparations for people in our country?
It should be. I think it would be justified. There's many other places where this happened as well.
Well, Central Park, Central Park was like that. Central Park, New York was a community, Seneca Village. Seneca Park or Seneca Village was the name of it.
That would be more difficult to hand the seed back, but there should be some sort of reparations as far as things like this that are obvious egregious situations. I mean, wouldn't it be cool if they did put a hotel there like it originally was? I mean,
Yeah, restore it back.
I assume they'll sell it and then take
Why
the
would they sell it?
profits.
Why would they sell
Take
it?
the profits from it.
Nah,
$75 million
they would just they would
and
they
split
would.
it.
I think they would build. I think they should build it up. Why sell it? The whole point was the value of land. So
Which you could sell and make a lot of money.
what if the city turns around and pay them back for that money? That's still another lawsuit. They might get paid back over all those years of not having.
The city's not going to pay them $75 million.
They might pay them some money for. They might still give them some sort of financial money along with that land. They got to restore the
If
land.
they sold it to them, yeah.
I mean, the city. No, not sold them. What I'm saying is that the land is they're giving them the land back. The land has to be built up. You don't think that the city's going to put money into that?
Yes.
The city can give that family money to put money toward building that land back up, putting hotels and property on that land. They still got to pay taxes on it.
Towns that were taken by the government turned into lakes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Georgia, the same thing. Like right above Fulton County. So it's like all these. This happens all over the country that we don't talk about. A lot of people didn't know about, and so this could be a form of reparations. Because right now, the only other form of reparations for some of their families is when their families sue the city for unlawful, unjustified killings of someone. That's another form of reparations. Really, they're getting fined as a lawsuit, but it starts generational wealth for some of these families.
I'm just saying that, like, if you lived in New Jersey or something and you are a great grandchild of these people, you're not going to want to try and manage a hotel building there. You would want to sell the property and get a check. It
depends, man. It all depends, because land is valuable. It all depends, man.
Okay.
Think about this. They got that land there, and they built. We don't know what the income of those family members are. Some of those family members may be already wealthy. We don't know. Within that family.
But
what I'm saying is,
they said many of them would live below the poverty line right now.
I don't know if they said many or some. I can't remember, but that doesn't mean everybody.
No.
If somebody has the money to start building on that land, and you can build on it, you're going to make more money than that $75 million.
Yeah.
In
LA,
you
don't have to agree on it, but yeah,
we're not talking about in some hick town in the bottom of Alabama or Mississippi by the water. We're talking about Los Angeles.
Yep.
I mean, come on, dude.
Location.
There's a resort in New York. It's a black-owned resort community in New York that nobody even talks about, and they make pretty good money. But can you imagine if they lived in a tourist area, the money that could be made? We can't even name a black-owned resort area in our country. That could be the first one.
Yeah,
they would make their money right now, 2021 and moving forward. They would make more money with that type of concept than they could in the past.
Well, it would be interesting and something to follow up on, like in a year, to see what happens with that piece of land there in Manhattan Beach.
That's the old way of thinking. Oh, let's sell the land and make the money. You know what I'm saying? Compared to the money that could be generated from a business and entrepreneurial perspective going forward.
If you're in a position to do so, yeah.
I mean, that could really create. That's where the generational wealth is created through land.
Yep.
Through land. That's what we should be doing.
Yeah, I hear you.
So I mean,
anyways,
short story right quick. Huntsville, Alabama. That's like an area where they make rockets. They're known for making rockets. And my grandfather it was like my mom, excuse me, my mom's stepdad. That's like he's been my grandfather on that side of the family I knew about, but he's from that area. It's a city called Decatur, Georgia.
Yeah.
And not Georgia, I'm sorry, Decatur, Alabama.
Okay.
He's from that area. And he took me by his old land where this old land their family was at. Well, we found out that over the years, I think it was NASA or some company that built rockets bought that land and built these factories down there. And there was one guy there was a couple people that didn't sell. So my grandfather sold. No, he got his quick cash from it. But this guy that didn't sell sold years and years and years later and made way more money because he waited.
Yep. Yeah.
And when he waited, I saw there were so many people who were upset because they didn't wait. They were so quick to sell, and they could have made more money. But that's just a little quick story there, personal story, family wise, that I knew about. What's your bottom line for today, man? It's time.
Bottom lines. So we're gonna do the bottom lines. I'm happy that COVID is waning downward. The trend is going in the right direction, so that makes me happy. I hope it continues to do so throughout the winter, even though people are going to be inside more and everything. So I hope that I just hope personally and for our well-being of the country that things continue a downward trend. So keep up the good work, everyone. Be careful and do what you can to take care of yourselves so that other people are healthy as well. That's my bottom line.
My bottom line today is continue for each of us to become more educated and willingness to have respectful conversations about every topic that you choose to. I think many of us still put these roadblocks up of conversation because of ignorance. Lack of education will cause you not to engage, or it will cause you to speak that misinformation we've talked about earlier. So yeah, just continue to educate ourselves and to treat people respectfully, and not just get into these cliques where you're just being a follower, these social media cliques, and you're just following because you're part of a group. So yeah, just educate ourselves.
I really believe in our mission statement. I really do. I mean, some people have approached me that I'm divisive, because we talk about things that are political issues, that have turned into political issues. But I truly believe that we're trying to bring people together, actually.
Yeah,
that we're trying to bring people together, and then we're trying to do something positive here, not something that adds to the divisiveness of the world.
Just saw this comment, man.
What comment?
I just saw that.
You don't like cheese. You don't like the cheeseheads. You don't like Wisconsin. That's the problem.
Is that I missed that? I just happened to
Milwaukee.
See it. Yeah, because I saw that. So Milwaukee is out. I just saw that comment.
Well, you didn't like Laverne and Shirley?
I did, actually. I did like Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah, I did. I watched that growing up.
They were pretty cool. Yeah. So man, the Happy Days, all that, because Happy Days was in Milwaukee too. Yeah, I remember all that. Yeah, I liked Happy Days. But yeah, man, I just happened to see that comment. I just thought it was hilarious because I just saw that. So yeah, it must have been around the time we were
Welcome
talking
Back
about
Carter,
Milwaukee.
I believe, was in Milwaukee, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? I didn't realize that.
Okay. I want to say it was. Maybe not.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay.
Milwaukee used to be the place,
I guess, man. They had Kareem. Okay. So, man, it was great.
One of the things that we wanted to have a show about coming up, and so this is something that might take place next week, maybe in the next 2 weeks, is a show about domestic violence, and we were going to have some people on to talk about the issues that we hold in common, no matter what community that you're in around the country. So they had some insights that to share with people, and so we're working on that. Was there something else we were working on in the future?
Well, I'm thinking that collaboration with the domestic violence, I was looking at the sex trafficking and sexual abuse. I'm still in talks with people with that.
Okay, so we'll be looking at those topics that are serious and sobering, but we hope to have some good laughs here as well.
Yep. Okay, man.
I had a little video that had some cat videos, but I think it's.
Want to close out with that?
It was okay. No.
You can close out with the cat. Whatever. You can play a
No,
cat
I'm
video.
okay. I'm okay.
You good?
It was okay.
Okay.
It wasn't that funny.
Okay. Okay, y'all. We're gonna close out, and we will catch you all next week. Oh boy, man.